Orders, Captain. Roger that.
So in this video, I'm going to be showing the Terran 5 racks build versus Zerg. I got this build from Flash's 5 racks guide, and it's very good, but sometimes I was messing up the build because I wasn't able to remember all the supplies or all the game timer timings. So I tried to come up with a solution where I could hit the build more accurately and more consistently. And you'll see what I do is I take an SCV, build a certain building, and then with the same SCV build the next building. So when one building's done, you build the next. You don't have to look at the supply, and you don't have to look at the game timer to figure out what to do. You just know what to do because when this building's done, you build the next one.
SCV good to go, sir.
So the build is just standard, 9 depot, 11 barracks, 14 depot. You do need to know certain timings, but you don't need to know as many timings as Flash's video. Now I'm in a single player game and I'm actually versus Terran. And the reason I picked Terran is because Terran does a 6:15 timing attack, and if you do the build correctly, you'll be able to stop it, and if you don't, you're gonna die to it. Here's the 11 barracks. I'm gonna send out the 12th SCV because normally in Terran vs Zerg you scout at 12, and since I'm trying to simulate a normal game as much as possible, I don't want to mine with this extra SCV that I normally would not have mining. So I'm just going to put it outside their main. If you were playing versus another race like Protoss or Zerg, you could micro in their base to simulate microing versus Zerglings. But in this specific game, I'm not going to bother with that, and I'm just going to focus on the build order. So at 14, build your depot. Everything is just standard so far. Build 2 Marines, and on your 18th supply SCV, we're going to rally it down to our natural to build a command center. So the next one coming out.
You want a piece of me, boy? Let's move. Commander. SCV good to go, sir. Roger that. Standing by. Orders, Captain.
Now, when you build the command center, you're not going to have money to build both a command center and an SCV, so I build an SCV.
SCV good to go, sir. I read you.
On the 21st SCV, rally it down to build a depot, and you want to build a depot that creates some sort of semi-wall to defend Zerglings. So at 22 or 23 is when your depot is going to go down. Doesn't matter which one. At 24, we're going to get gas. Everything so far is the exact same as Flash's build.
Jacked up and good to go. Let's move. Standing by. SCV good to go.
Keep building SCVs and Marines. Now when this SCV is done, I'm going to take it and build the eBay. And I build it on the low ground on this map because it's just easy to remember. Build depot, build eBay. Our gas is done, put 2 on gas, and send 5 to 6 SCVs to mine your natural. You don't even have to check the natural timing, that's just the timing. SCVs will mine almost perfectly when they get there. When your command center is done, build your academy. Again, keep building SCVs, keep building Marines nonstop. Now Flash would normally take off gas at 88. In mine, you just keep mining, get +1. When you get +1, take 2 off gas. Easy to remember instead of having to look at your gas count. When you have money, build your second barracks and send another SCV up to build a depot. Meanwhile, still building SCV, still building Marines. Whenever you have money, build your barracks. We have money, build the barracks.
Reporting for duty. Order piece of me, boy. SCV
When STEM is done, or I mean when the academy is done, get STEM and put 2 back on gas.
Not enough minerals.
job's finished.
And get 2 medics.
Go, sir.
2 medics is the perfect amount for the amount of amount of Marines you're going to have.
SCV good to go, sir. SCV good to go,
Not
sir.
enough minerals.
I read you. Give me something to shoot.
At around 540, we're going to get our comsats.
SCV good to go, sir.
And with that SCV that built the 2nd barracks,
Under attack.
use it to build the 5th barracks.
Commander, rock and roll. Job's finished. Orders, Captain.
Meanwhile, don't get supply blocked.
Piece of me, boy. Job's finished. Yes, sir.
Research complete.
6 minutes, STEM completes. So get range.
Add-on complete. Add-on complete.
Now, the next timing, usually UDAs come out. So you want to get turrets at around 6:15.
Orders, Captain.
So 6:15, build turrets.
Reporting for duty. Job's finished.
You want to build 3 of them, but don't get supply blocked.
Yes, sir. Orders, Captain. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that.
Your forces are under
You
attack.
want to build 2 or 3 in your main, at least 2.
Job's finished. Yes, sir. Orders received. Can't build it. Something's
Sometimes the SCVs get in the way to build the turrets.
I can't orders received. You want a piece of me, boy? I read you.
Not enough minerals.
SCV good to go, sir.
Now, the next timing
Minerals.
Orders, Captain.
is when your +1 weapon finishes. When your +1 weapon finishes, we're going to get armor, factory, all at the same time.
Upgrade complete.
You want a piece of me, boy? You want a piece of me, boy? SCV good to go, sir.
Not enough minerals.
Whenever you have money to sneak in an SCV, build it. If you don't cut Marines to get SCVs. So I just got +1 armor, I go to build my factory,
SCV good to go, sir. SCV
and I go build my refinery. Everything, just boom, boom, boom.
Not enough minerals.
Don't have to look at supplies, don't have to look at timings. When this happens, you do this, and then that. Easy to remember.
Where does it hurt?
Meanwhile, don't get supply blocked. Imperative that you don't get supply blocked with this build. This build is based around pressure, so if you don't have Marines, there's no reason to use this build.
reporting for duty. Orders received.
Need medical
I'm
attention?
just gonna move my Marines down here to remove congestion.
Orders, Captain. SCV good to go,
Additional
sir.
Now, at some point you're gonna have to build 2 depots at a time. Usually it's around 60, but since we had that fight with the other Marines, I didn't have to double build depots. Once your factory is done, build 2 starports.
SCV good to go,
Not
sir.
enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Yes, sir.
Did someone page me?
Standing by. Go, go, go. Job's finished. Job's finished.
Prepped
I
and
read
ready.
you. You want a piece of me, boy? You want a piece of me, boy?
Not enough minerals.
I read you.
Again, keep building Marines
Not enough
and
minerals.
SCVs when you can.
Not enough minerals.
You want a piece of me, boy? You want a piece of me, boy? Yes, sir. Job's
When your starports are done, build your science facility.
Orders received. Job's finished. I read you.
Not enough
When you do
minerals.
5 racks, the mech transition happens around 11:30. And if you do this build properly, both your vessels will come out, or the 3rd and 4th vessel will come out at exactly 11:30. I'm gonna kill off some Marines right now, just because normally I wouldn't have this many Marines at this point. There would have been some sort of fight.
Add-on complete.
Orders, Captain.
Add-on complete.
Your armor will finish at around 10:10. You can lift it if you want, but I would recommend you don't lift it that early because they're gonna know that you're going mech. Now when your science facility is done, get 2 vessels and get your armory. At this point, you're not gonna have enough money for a command center, or irradiate, but I get
Reporting for duty.
command center first instead of irradiate
Complete.
because the vessels won't have the energy to cast it
Not enough
anyways.
minerals. Not enough
So
minerals.
command center first
Not
before
enough
irradiate,
minerals.
but don't forget to get it. And you see my +1 armor is done now. I'm gonna get irradiate. So I'm going to lift this just to show that it's done.
Not enough
Now
minerals.
with the eBay, you can put it on some kind of path where like a defiler push would happen. That way you can see it coming without having to actually put Marines there to defend it. Get your 3rd and 4th vessel. Now when these are done,
Need medical attention?
the mech switch is about to happen. Because it'll be 11:30.
Greetings, Command.
When your armory is done, get +1.
Affirmative.
You want to get +1 ASAP
SCV good to go.
because
Additional
Zergs
supply depots
will
required.
normally start getting upgrades around 10 minutes or 10:30, and you want to match their upgrades.
Research complete.
We're approaching 11:30, so I'm going to send out 3 SCVs to build factories.
Job finished. Reporting for duty. Right away, sir. SCV good to go, sir.
Irradiate's done, and our vessels are just about to come out. See 11:34.
Orders, Captain.
Our command center's done, so send 12 SCVs. Since this base only has
I read you.
7 mineral patch, just send 12.
I read you.
Also, send out an SCV to take another main and send a group of Marines to defend it.
SCV good to go,
Complete.
sir. Reporting for duty.
Meanwhile, don't get supply blocked.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You can
sir.
keep building SCVs at these 2 bases. You don't need it at your other one. At your 3rd base.
State the nature of your medical emergency.
If you have more money, you can build more factories, but sometimes you won't, sometimes you will.
Affirmative. I read you.
When your first 3 factories are done, build another armory.
SCV good to go, sir. All right, bring it on.
Rally your factories. We're gonna want 9 factories. That's the magic number.
Research
Make sure you take your 4th base.
I read you.
add-on complete.
Now once you get to this point, you just want to mine the map. And you want to get siege tanks after you have a few vultures, because you want to take your first few siege tanks and send it to your 4th base to defend it. Because you're not going to have factories up there very quickly, so if they go ultras, you need to have tanks there in time.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
So I'm going to send about 20 SCVs to this base now.
Job finished. Orders, Captain.
I'm actually a little undersaturated, so I'm going to build some more SCVs.
I read you. Bring it on. Ready to roll out. All right, bring it on. All right, bring it on. SCV good to go, sir.
And you see my armory just finished and +1 is basically done. So now start +2.
Upgrade complete. Research complete. Insufficient Vespene gas.
Good to go, sir.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
SCV good to go, sir.
Add-on complete. Upgrade not enough minerals.
Reporting for duty.
Not enough minerals.
I can't right away, sir.
Once you get this base up and running,
Yes, sir.
get your refinery immediately. You're going to want to build
Finished.
a factory here, or 2 factories here,
Not
to defend it.
enough insufficient Vespene gas.
You also want to send 2 or 3 SCVs to build turrets
Insufficient Vespene
to
gas.
defend drops.
Yes, sir. I read you. Bring it on. Standing by. Go, go, go.
You can also take a base at the same time. Take your 5th base at the same time. And that's pretty much all there is to 5 racks once you get to this point. Once you have vultures on the map, you need to just lay mines everywhere and take bases.
Job's finished.
And that's it for this build order. I'll be demonstrating how to use the 5 racks in an upcoming video, so if you like this one, make sure to check that one out. Bye now.